Do you know anything about the unseen physical effects of the modern mobile phone? I noticed using it makes my breathing shallow and seldom, my eyes and mouth dry, my muscles tense, gives me insomnia and sometimes makes me want to poop. What do you know? What have you noticed on yourselves? What would be the root cause of the effects? The light, the close distance to the screen? Is there subliminal information in the flicker? I'm more interested in physical effects ITT. The psychological effects are almost mainstream. One that is often neglected though is how the loss in patience that we observe in people these days could be from the phones. Phones train us to expect quick, easy, predictable results from our interactions, so when confronted with real life which doesn't work this way, people no longer have patience, they are angrier and lack perseverance. There was an /x/tier podcast I listened to a few years ago about the blue demons, or something that has been in most electronics since the leap from CRT screens. CRT used a green, or sometimes orange, tint, whereas modern screens use blue, which has led to the issues you bring up. It's odd, if you assume earnest evolution and not malice, that it evolved in this way, since blue is the most dangerous color on the spectrum to be this pronounced. The color blue causes a feeling of anticipation and uneasiness, red supposedly causes calmness, I forget the others. The only reason I know red is because most media devices started supporting a redshift functionality where you could make the device show red tints instead of blue, so it would make it easier for you to use the phone before going to sleep. I found this a bit suspicious, as one would assume red would be the color associated with demons and not blue. At the time I listened to the podcast and learned about the redshift thing, I assumed it was a new coke-esque ploy by the powers that be. Damn. This could explain why will-o'-the-wisps are mostly blue. You are directly exposing yourself to electromagnetic radiation when it is physically touching you. Strongly advise you never to put it up against your head. The restlessness sounds correct. I use an app called Night Shift to make the screen orange and it feels easier on the eyes. I think there's more going on though. Probably most issues with phones are related to this, but that I don't know how. Straight face. I notice if I leave it anywhere on my torso I start to feel sick in that spot, and I think the blue light is blinding my third eye. The most psychically active I've been is when I would get away from devices, and when I did, only use them with a blue light filter. My phone is fucked up and broken, so I can only use it with maximum brightness, and it's been hard on my pineal. The darker the better it seems, to see in the dark. Your body absorbs radiation, keep doing it all the time and the damage accumulates. You won't feel anything because it isn't normally detectable. Sleep deprivation, enough said. Their screen is very small, so if the young'un gets exposed to media, paintings, photos, movies, he or she won't experience them as intended or natural, he or she will have parts of his brain physically altered. His or her physiology changed when it comes to processing what is before his or her eyes. Real becomes like a visual illusion. When compared to the standard world viewed on the screen, we could say that he or she becomes non-human, SOYBOYS being a prime example. Sure, psychological consequences are the end result, e.g. indifference to hygiene and beauty, but the irreversible anatomic and physiologic changes are an undeniable underlying basis for these psychological effects. I'm very curious about the effects of Zoomers having their phone glued to them in 10 to 15 years down the line. I hope it's not as bad as it seems, cause now it seems like they are nowhere near as human as previous generations. I see 5 to 10 yos on phones on the subways with their parents also on a phone. If I had to guess, I'd say it's over, just a matter of time. Straight face. I wanna thank the Anon that made a post weeks about turning on airplane mode when sleeping. Ever since I started I notice less mental stress and noise when going to bed. I'd always known about it, but reading other do it I guess convinced me. Can't wait until this is mainstream. I shouldn't be compelled to cut my head and face and use toxic deodorant. Not only corporal hygiene but mental hygiene. For example, girls wearing makeup / haircut / clothes they see promoted but in fact makes them look disgusting, Of course to their peers they are beautiful because lacking any capacity to think on their own, or be in touch with their essence, for them beauty equals socially acceptable. The kind promoted on their phones, and don't get me started on mate choice, which today mostly boils down to fat ugly female plus tiny testosterone deficient male. Anyway, I initially wrote hygiene as complementary to beauty, meaning what you judge as beautiful in your future vs. what you judge beautiful in the world, but you are of course right, corporal hygiene is undeniably part of the first one. Not all deodorant brands are equally bad, Anon. Install the Yuka app. No need to thank me. There existed a deodorant that contains specific bacteria from the ground. People used to use earth to wash themselves. The hippie inventor tried it too and worked, go figure, which converted the stuff stinky bacteria thrive on into more proper substances. The problem was that it cost about $120 a can and I can't even find it anymore. Yuka app. I won't install shit on my phone that will help corporations exploit me better. It will end up like all those no coloring agents. No flavor enhancers. Totally clean. Meats that are full of nitrites, but give the illusion that are healthy. As long as the market is being manipulated by a billions of retards, finding anything good is a random endeavor. All deodorant that goes on the skin is bad. The most I do is spray it on clothes, and I ran out of spray months ago. Yeah, I don't get why girls want to look like demons these days. Probably because they talk to them. Their dealings with demons is as bad as their cooking. BTW cooking is a good predictor of IQ. Geez, Anon, you don't know how radiation works, huh? Buy a Faraday pouch and keep your phone in it, especially when sleeping. If you can't afford the $20 pouch, at least use airplane mode. I promise you there is glow nigger fuckery in the cellular bands, and EMF in general causes poor health. What, were you sleeping with your phone in your bed? I've always had it on the opposite side of the room because yeah, I can see it interfering with my sleep. They are toxic and emit EMF radiation are very unhealthy levels. Put it in airplane mode at night. I even disconnect my Wi-Fi router at night. After I read The Invisible Rainbow, my opinion on technology totally changed.
Mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/link/Atomic Shaman Trading Post. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Catch the live streams on Rumble. Listen to text-to-speech stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube.